I've taught on chemotherapy to patients hundreds of times over my 20 plus years in oncology. But when you experience these side effects, when you can't get out the bed because the smells of the food being cooked downstairs are literally locking you to the bed, when you can't go down the hallway of your apartment building because your neighbors are cooking and every scent wants to send you to the bathroom to vomit. After my double mastectomy, actually 4 weeks after my double mastectomy, phase 2 of my treatment for breast cancer began. And what is phase 2? Well, I was diagnosed with stage 3A breast cancer, which means that the cancer had left the breast and moved into the lymph nodes. And thankfully, we were able to remove enough lymph nodes until cleared. But we couldn't stop there because the cancer could certainly find a way outside of the area into another part of the body. To prevent a recurrence of breast cancer, to keep me cured, we had to then proceed with chemotherapy. And basically, chemotherapy kills anything that replicates or divides quickly, like cancer cells. So, on November 29th, 2019, I proceeded with my first dose of chemotherapy. I taught this to doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners, patients for years. The science of chemotherapy, how it's given. I mixed chemotherapy under hoods and I administered it as a registered nurse. None of it prepared me for what I experienced as a patient. When you can't eat because your taste buds are completely gone. The only thing that tastes good for me was like pickles, something super sour, super briny. But if it was sugary, if it was creamy, I mean, I couldn't eat. I was losing 3 and 4 pounds a week just from not eating. And the hair loss, which, you know, when I told people they were going to lose their hair and don't worry, it's going to come back, it is so traumatic. It's very hard to deal with, and it's the topping on the cake. It's like everything that I'm experiencing, and I'm losing my beauty at the same time. My eyebrows are leaving at the same time. My eyelashes are falling into the sink when I wash my face, while I'm nauseous, while I feel weak, while I have to take my temperature twice a day because I have to worry about fever because my immune system is so low that I could literally be put in a hospital from the smallest infection. These are the things that you don't understand until you experience them. And as much of a provider as I am, and I am truly a professional when it comes to educating patients, I'm a big advocate of education, but this cancer has educated me. I wasn't ready for having my hands and feet in ice baths for an hour when I started to receive another part of my chemotherapy called Taxol toward the end. Every week, my hands and my feet were submerged in ice for an hour to prevent side effects. These are the things that you tell people about. I told my patients we're going to do something called cryotherapy, where we cool your hands and feet, but I had never experienced cryotherapy. It is not pleasant. I just think that clinicians can do better understanding the journey of chemotherapy. So it is totally doable. It is uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable, but you find your sweet spot. You find that show that makes you laugh. You find that book that makes you inspired. You grab your dog and you rub their head and you look into their eyes and you see how much they love you, and you grab that. You allow yourself to be held by your spouse and let them take and bear some of the burden. You allow yourself to cry. You allow yourself to be angry. You know, I was angry, and it's okay to be angry because I have to mourn my health, mourn my breasts that are gone, mourn this future where you do not have illness. Now I have to always kind of in my head say, hey, could this come back? But that's okay, because I also have great moments. I also have moments where, my friend becomes the mayor of the city that I live in. I have great moments where I get to teach Sunday schools, and I have a phenomenal church. My husband and I going on dates or playing cards, vacations. I have those moments, and they're greater moments, and they have to become the greater moments. That is up to me to make those moments greater than the suffering. And that's what I choose to do. I choose to make the moments of pain lesser than the moments of victory. And I think that every time I get out the bed in the morning and I get up and go to work, and then I come home and make a meal and we watch a movie and we laugh and we play cards, my husband and I, that I just had a moment of victory, and those are the greater moments. I am not going to lie to you. Chemotherapy feels horrible. You're going to lose your hair. You're going to have nausea, profound weakness. I felt like I got hit by a Mack truck every 2 weeks. And just when you begin to feel better, you get hit again. But what I can tell you is, when it's time for treatment, just wake up and go. That's all we're asking you to do. That's all I did. I woke up and said, I'm going. And then I allowed the process to happen. I allowed the IV to be placed. I allowed the anti-nausea medicine to be given, and then the chemotherapy. I allowed the Neulasta shot, which is a shot that they place on your arm that triggers in 24 hours. You feel it the next day, the prick, that keeps you from having what's called low white cell count and keeps you from having deadly infections. I allowed that to happen. Take one day at a time, one symptom at a time, and do everything you can to prevent a symptom from coming. That means if they tell you to take anti-nausea medicine, even if you don't feel nauseous, do it. That means if they tell you to eat foods that are not cooked to avoid smell aversion, do it. Keep fluids on hand. Keep your caregivers close by for several days after you receive each treatment. You can do this. Meditate, journal, watch good movies, listen to good music, do whatever it takes, but just don't stop, because this is one part of the treatment that's potentially going to keep you from ever seeing cancer again.